All right, there we go. I had to make sure I had the page refreshed. That way I can actually have the stream rolling in the background for the chat. Hello, welcome guys back to week number 11 after our second and last break for the series. Gonna be a straight shot to the end of the season with 5 races to go. My name is Xerox. I'm going to be your commentator for today, as I have been for majority of Tier 4 this season. And I almost didn't stream for today. I was dealing with some family hardships. I had a family member pass away, so I was a little under the weather a few days ago, but I should be good enough to be able to run today. I have some mail to go over, some liveries for F1 World. And there is our invite, I believe. Yes. Alright. Alright, as always, if you guys are new here, if you're looking to join the league, make sure to join the Invictus Racing League's Discord and follow the application process in the appropriate channel. As well, you guys can also always find our league on gridfinder.com. If this league isn't quite what you're looking for, be sure to look through Gridfinder for a league that fits your preference. If online racing isn't your thing and you're on PC, fortunate for those who are on console who are unable to use the mods, be sure to go check out Venturi Studios, your one-stop shop for anything from custom driver helmets, team packages, and more. The Invictus Racing League and its partners, thank you for joining us today and throughout the season, as we're going to be hitting China today. It's not on the 2023 season calendar for F1. We'll be coming back next year, I believe, in the early parts of the season, which I'm looking forward to seeing the track again. I love it. I like it. Sector 2 not so much, but that back straight, pretty good. I mean, missed the last race. Thank you. It helps. It means a lot. The support is everything, and be able to keep my mind off of things and deal with it when the time comes. So Callum, your microphone is registering a lot of background. Callum, we're getting a lot of background from your microphone. And I do have the audio stuff figured out. We had that figured out last time. So we will be able to have the driver, the podium interviews at the end of the race if they are able to attend. Let me go ahead and mute everybody. That way, if Callum is still having issues with his microphone, then I will be able to not have that picked up for the stream. We're still about 6-7 minutes away for the race. We have 11 drivers so far. People are still rolling in here. Can't wait for this race. The track seems quite good too. Yeah, like I was saying, I personally like the track. Not so much Sector 2 with those long, I think the long left-hander going into Sector 3. Especially with it being a little bit of an uphill climb. But yeah. So real quick, what we're gonna actually do before we go into the lobby, we're gonna go over driver and constructor standings. I'm gonna pull my phone up compared to last week, see what we let me get there. Oh, come on, where is it? All right, there we go. I haven't looked at the penalties from last week. We'll go over that here in a second. But final standings after round 10. For team standings, we still have McLaren 169 points ahead of Williams at 113, Haas at 87. Red Bull jumps Ferrari for 24 points. I know they're both at 24 points, but I don't know if it's because of their good performance. But Red Bull and Ferrari tied for 8th for 24 points. And no other movement for the constructor standings. For the team standings, we have JPH Jack jumping from P4 up into P2, only 2 points behind JPH. Lucas Blaha, Ronan, Bruce Lee Harding is getting up there in the top. He's now in the top 5 points ahead of Clips Curie. Clips Curie, if you remember from last week, was I think it was a few tenths of a second off of the podium. I believe that podium was stolen from, I believe it was Jamie. Let me go back and look here, because I don't think Jamie is in for today's race. I'm not seeing Jamie on the list of drivers. And go to my race results for last week. Yeah, it was Jack, Bruce Lee Harding, Sam Flan. That's who it was. Sam Flan was the one who stole the podium out of Clips Curie, because Alpha Crazy had that 3-second time penalty as they went 3 wide in Singapore at the very last corner. And Clips Curie let off the gas a little bit too much. Let off the pressure at the end of the race. But it was a fun race, and we're looking forward to today. As we're doing the normal format today, we're short qualifying, and then a 28-lap race, no sprint. I believe the sprint is, let me look here at the calendar. The sprint is Qatar. We're 2 races away, so in 2 weeks we'll be in Qatar for the final sprint of the season. But we have to do today's race for Tier 4. It's all about China this week. Next week will be Canada, and then the week after that will be Qatar. Australia the following week, and then the last week of our season will be Japan. So it looks like we have majority of our people, 13 drivers so far, with a few more minutes to go. 13 drivers and like 4 minutes to go before we start up. I am still getting a message. I hate that about like the menu. Like it says you have like a message or whatever, and it's just not. There's nothing there. But yeah, I am looking forward to today and seeing what some drivers can do. I'm going back to the standings here. As yeah, so let's see. Rona getting knocked back down to P4 from P2. Jack taking P2. Lucas Blaha basically staying where he's at there in P3. The very end of the podium for the driver standings. Let's see if I can notice anybody else who has made some jumps. Besides Bruce Lee Harding, still P5. Clips Curie still sitting P6. Blackside P7. Sam Flan P8. And then Mikey RK13 in P9. Let's see. Nitro Gash in the Ferrari gets jumped by Alpha Crazy in the Red Bull. And then that is followed by Sab in the Mercedes, who has been replaced by, I don't remember where. Let me look. I just saw it too. I don't know where I saw it, but I don't think Sab is driving for Mercedes in Tier 4, because they did opt out of Tier 4 admin. as Jack in the Williams is the race admin today. And as we hit the clock, the top of the hour, looks like we're gonna have 13 drivers today. Okay, yeah. Callum, if you're watching or listening to the stream, you're still getting feedback from your microphone. Really loud. Got new boots for work. I'm starting to get blisters. Trying to break them in. All right. We're gonna get ready. Jack's just gonna make sure that everybody's ready to go. It's top of the hour. Did you fix it? All right, drivers are readying up. Here's our list of drivers for you guys to see. Okay, it's not working. Why are you not working? There we go. I fixed it. There. I don't know why it did that, but it was selected as my previous game. I went and recorded the I pre-ordered the new Modern Warfare, and I recorded the campaign, and it didn't take the separate, was registering it as the Modern Warfare, but not the. That was weird because I could hear the F1 game. Oh, it's because it's separate audio. Never mind. But here we are, short qualifying in China. Everybody's gonna be getting their setups ready to go. It's gonna be more of a what am I looking for? Drivers are gonna be looking for their setups to be more towards the top speed. So that's gonna be, I believe, lower wing angles and lower ride heights. Just not low enough to where it'll jeopardize you in sectors 1 and 2, where you have those short S curve coming up the hill, the long right-hander into the S there in sector 1. I'm gonna go ahead and go through our tires won't matter, telemetry on for qualifying, lap data, track map full, and it is a clockwise track. You can see, like I was saying, those long left-hander in sector 2 to a long right-hander. And then that hairpin left turn into sector 3 as we got our first driver out. Callum, first one out of the pits. There we go. And I don't know if it'll show. Yes, I did change my TV pod offset camera angle for my season 2 of my career mode. So Callum out early. Feels pretty confident with this setup. Because we're going to be going to... Watch him, he's going to be the first one out. He's going to be the first one to set our pace for today on those hot tires. Once again, Bruce Lee Harding, JPH for McLaren, Lucas Blaha, and Callum Whitting for Alfa Romeo. I'm going to go ahead and tap out for 1 second. I got to pull the chat back up. Sylvan North, welcome back. Pull the chat back up, that way I can see that. Once again, if my audio or the game audio is too loud, please let me know. That way I can adjust it. And we have a spin from Nitro Gash in Sector 1. Probably put too much throttle on. I didn't get to see what happened. Gonna go back to Callum winning as he's rounding the last few corners of the lap. Chance of rain near the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see. And all right, Callum Whitting, first up for his hot lap. Gonna be setting the pace for today. We have Nitro Gash in the Ferrari, Sam Flan in the Mercedes, Mikey and Jack for Williams, JPH, Clips Curie in the AlphaTauri, repping the only AlphaTauri driver for today, so he doesn't get his teammate Sir Spud in the other Ferrari, Ronan in the Haas, and Gattuso in the Aston Martin. Taking a 24.1 in Sector 1 from Callum. The Mercedes of Sam Flan behind, starting their hot lap, as well as the McLaren of, I believe, JPH. When coming around that left-hander, the double left-hander, get a good outing on that. You'll get a good launch into the chicane. As long as you can get a good exit from the chicane, you'll have a good chance down that straight for a lot of speed. Just to make sure that your wings are set properly. That way you're not losing too much time on this straight, as there is a little bit of a drop here about the DRS. I don't know if they must have fixed it. I didn't see the car drop. Just coming around the last few corners, second to last turn. I don't forget the turn number. But Callum in the Alfa Romeo, first to set a time for today's qualifying session. Gonna be a 1:33.085 as our projected start time. Gonna be going over to, I believe, the Mercedes is up next. I can double check. Yep, good. Tuso is on an outlap, so the Mercedes of Sam Flan is up next. See if he can have an improvement from that time that was set by the Alfa Romeo. 1:32.8, so that's about 2/10 of a second gap. Next up is the McLaren of Bruce Lee Harding. No, that's going to be JPH, sorry. And then Jack setting a 1:32.1. Blackside in the Alpine coming through, 1:33.5. That's going to be the AlphaTauri of Clips Curie setting a 1:32.4, so he's provisional P2. We still got a long ways to go as the Ferrari is coming through of Nitro Gash. Only for P6, 1:33.4. And I believe next up we have Ronan on an outlap. And Sector 3 caution, so I don't know if they're slowing down. Yeah, he's trying to be slow. And that's also Bruce Lee Harding. I don't know if Bruce is having issues or what. Because he's not on an outlap. He must... I'm not saying any damage, I don't know. He may be coming back into the pits. No, he's going to be going for another lap. He messed up on his lap, so he's going to be going again. And Gattuso setting his time at a P5, 1:33.01. Jack and the Williams still top the quality. We still have 4 more people to set times. Luke Splaha is on an outlap. Mikey's in the pit. Chris Spud is on an outlap. Ronan is on his hot lap. So we're going to be going over to Ronan to see what kind of time he can set as he's coming through the end of Sector 2, going into Sector 3. We'll have to go back to Bruce to see if he can make an improvement. I don't know what happened with him. Ferrari going into the pits. All right, Ronan rounding out the last corner, setting his lap time. May have gotten a lap deletion from that. Doesn't look like it. 1:33.26 up for P7. Sir Spud on an outlap. And then McLaren of Bruce Lee Harding behind. See if he has much of an improvement. It looks like he does. 134. It is an improvement from that rough start. It's not an improvement to get up in the leaderboard as of yet. We have Gattuso in the Aston Martin going slow. He's going to be coming back into the pits. And the Alfa Romeo, Lucas Blahat's coming around to finish out the end of his lap. And it looks like he's got low fuel. So I don't know if he's set the wrong fuel amount or if he's just doing his run. Yeah, he's doing his run. So he'll be limping back to the pits. 131 from Lucas Blaha. That's why we're seeing that low fuel gauge. He's dropped his fuel just enough to get that time up there. 131.8 from Lucas Blaha on the Alfa Romeo. So good run. And we have the Haas coming through in Sector 3. And Sir Spud out on the track, yet to set a time. As Mikey and the Williams, the other person without setting a time on his outlap. So Sir Spud coming around Sector 3, the second to last corner. See what kind of time he can set. And coming across the line only for P12, 134.5. Well, Sir Spud, not much of an improvement from him either. Bruce Lee Harding and Sir Spud still trying to look for improvement. We're going to be going over to Mikey. As I think one of the McLarens is out. Bruce Lee Harding is out on a hot. No, that's going to be JPH out for another hot lap. He's sitting up in P5 with a 132.8. We have Mikey starting their hot lap as well. All right, we're going to be coming back to Mike. He's the only one not to set a time yet, as there's 8 minutes, 30 seconds left in qualifying for today. We're going to be going over to JPH, see if he can find some improvement out of those tires, with his teammate needing some definitely. Looks like the Alpine in Sector 3 looking to start their other hot lap. And the Ferrari is well behind. I think that is Sir Spud, actually. Yeah, that is Sir Spud. They'll be coming back in. So we turn our attention back to JPH as he's coming back to the back straight. See if we can find some time in that braking point. Taking a lot of curb. Get a wheel spin there. See if that'll work in his favor, and it will. JPH up to P3 from P5. Took the risk of damage, taking a lot of curb there on that second to last corner. And then Mikey's coming around for their time. Mikey, where are you going to be? You're going to be P5. 132.7 from Mikey and the Williams, his teammate Jack up in P2. Lucas Blaha still sitting at 131.8 for provisional pole. And I believe we see an improvement from Nitro Gash. Yes, that is Nitro Gash with an improvement. Up in a P5 with a 132.54. Mercedes starting their hot lap. Aston Martin starting their hot lap. That is Black Side on their hot lap now, coming to finish it. The Alfa Romeo of, I believe, Callum close behind. And Ronan on a hot lap behind them, or out lap behind them. So it's good kind of improvement we get from Black Side only to P9, 133.08. And then Gattuso slotting ahead of them at a 133.017. So hundreds of seconds between Blackside and Gattuso. So we'll definitely have to look for them during the race for some competition. As we have some build up there in Sector 1. Oh, that's going to be the end of it. So we have both McLarens coming through Sector 3. JPH on a hot lap, I believe. No, that's going to be his cooldown lap. Coming back into the pits as Bruce. The moment of truth for Bruce here. Looking for some improvement, at least a 2-second improvement is where he wants to be. He's pushing this car really hard, especially after the first lap. Taking that car really well. Through Sector 1. We have Samplan improving up to P3. And I believe Gattuso did as well up in the P7. Yep, I'm checking the playback. Samplan improvement, Gattuso improvement. Clips Fury on his outlap there in P5. So we're on board with Bruce Lee Harding. I believe Ronan is ahead on their hot lap as well. A little bit of a wheel spin there through the last chicane. I think Black side may be on a cooldown. But Bruce Lee Harding, a person looking for the most improvement as of right now. 4 minutes, 30 seconds to go already in qualifying. Bruce hitting the DRS about 1.110. Hitting that braking zone. See what can he do? Leaving plenty of room between him and the curb. He's going to be coming around the last few corners. See what kind of improvement he can find. And that is not much of an improvement. 132.8. So he did get that 2-second gap, but the pack, today's pack. So Lucas Baja, 131.8. And we have a Sir Spud in a 134. So majority of this grid has they're gonna be coming into the pits. So I believe that is the Haas of Ronan up in P4 on a cooldown. And I believe that is Alex Barry and Clips Curie behind. So the pack, majority of the drivers have a 132 time frame for today's race. So there's going to be some close fighting today. I'm sure there's not that much similarity to their setups, but we'll have to wait and see what these guys can do, because we know McLaren's throughout the entire season, they're able to make up positions and wait for opportunities to come for them in order to get up into the podium spots. Clips Curie rounds the hard right-hander, looking to make some improvement. Coming through the last corner. Currently sitting at P6, 132.4. Let's see what kind of improvement he gets. Up into P4, 132.2. So 0.2 improvement for Clips Curie. Lucas Baja still holding provisional pole. Clips Curie is now on a cooldown. We have Jack and his teammate Mikey. Their Spud out on an outlap. I only got 4 hours of sleep or so, 4.5 hours of sleep, but with the daylight savings, it feels like I got a lot more. And I don't know if Gattuso is trying to get out of the way or if he spun out here in Sector 1. I saw the bunching up and I saw the yellow flag in Sector 1, so I don't know if that was most likely a mistake. All right, we have Mikey. No, it's going to be Jack starting his hot lap. And he's going to be coming up on traffic, so they better get out of the way. We have the Ferrari of, I believe, Sir Spud close behind him as well. Not close enough for some tow. I was kind of looking forward to seeing some of that today for qualifying, but we won't be able to see that until the race. See what kind of effects the tow has on some of these drivers. I'm looking at Jack's helmet, and it reminds me of Callie Mayer's Connor Sport helmet from Drive to Survive, or not Drive to Survive, from Breaking Point. All right, Ronan has a lot of clear air in front of him. None of that traffic has really jeopardized his run. He's sitting P2 at a 132.1. So he's basically trying to see as much improvement as possible. He's trying to squeeze out as much as he can from this Williams. As we have some of the other traffic that's in front of him starting their hot laps, hitting the DRS just before 110 on the time frame. So he's maybe getting some improvement. Running pretty good through that right-hander. And then rounding that left final corner. Hitting the curb really well. See if he can get an improvement. 131.7. So that's a few hundredths of a second. That's qualifying over. Jack taking provisional pole. Ferrari. I didn't get to see the improvement from the Ferrari. Nitro guy, she's up in P7. Or no, that's their Spud back in P13. So all these drivers are on their final runs. Next up is going to be the Alpine, I believe, of Blackside. We're going to see an improvement as he's running at that chicane there in Sector 3 at the start of Sector 3. And I believe Mikey is pulling a toe from the Alfa Romeo. Yeah, the Mikey's going to try to pull the toe from the Alfa Romeo like I was saying. The Blackside coming down the back straight. Can he hit that entry really well? He does. Just hope he didn't sacrifice too much speed. Come through this last corner, and then we have the Alfa Romeo coming in behind. I believe that's Callum or Lucas Blaha. Blackside up into P8. Is that Callum? That is Callum coming around in the Ferrari. Callum at the very last corner invalidates his lap time. He's going to be sitting back in P11. Ferrari comes in. The Aston Martin Gattuso. See what kind of improvement he can get. P3 for Gattuso. From the Haas. Ronan, see what kind of time he can find. These drivers are really pushing time. And there's a spin in Sector 3. I don't know if that was for Mikey. That was for Mikey. Mikey spun out in Sector 3. He was looking for some improvement. Ferrari next to him. I don't know who that is. And that is Mikey in the grass. So, there is our grid for today. Dude, that is Sir Spud on the track. That was Sir Spud stuck next to him. Jack in the front row. Lucas Blaha, Ronan, Gattuso, Samflan, Klipskiri, JPH, Nitrogash, Blackside, Mikey. Callum was looking for improvement and validated at the very last second of the race for this qualifying grid. We're on board with Sir Spud as we round out the end of qualifying. Very unfortunate for Callum. He went out early and was looking for an opportunity to improve as much as he could. Just no luck there. He's pushing it a little bit too far wide out of that last corner, invalidating his lap time. It's really going to hurt. I just hope he has the pace for today's race. I'm really looking forward to today's race. All right. And as a reminder, if the drivers are listening in, we have the podium finishers in the comms room, Tier 4 comms room, for our post-race interviews. And once again, people are going to finalize their race strategies, their setups, and their fuel loads. We can only change so much, and they have to use the same setup that they used for qualifying. So you can't be using a hot lap setup and then changing your setup for the actual race. Well, my time trials I do are for my race setups. I don't use time trial setups just to get the kind of speed out of those cars. I am trying to work on improving how I can get more, a little bit more speed out of my setups compared to tire life. So, and I'm pretty sure that's going to play a big factor in today's race, as we did see, I believe, Ronan. It was either Ronan or Jack a couple weeks ago. I believe it was in Vegas where they ran an extended stint on those hard tires. I believe it was Ronan. I could be wrong. I probably am. I don't remember. It was so long ago. But yeah, once again, if you guys are looking to join the league, make sure to join the Invictus Racing League's Discord and follow the application process in the appropriate channel. You can also find our league on gridfinder.com, and if this league isn't quite what you're looking for, be sure to look through Gridfinder for a league that fits your preferences with the available filters that they have on the website. If online racing isn't your thing and you're on PC, it's unfortunate for those who are on console. Your guys aren't able to use mods like we are on PC. Please go ahead and go check out Ventura Studios, your one-stop shop for anything from custom driver helmets, team packages, and more. The Invictus Racing League and its partners, thank you for joining us today and throughout the season as we're on race 11 here in China. So we race 11 out of 15, so 5 races to go, including today. And yeah, the season, been a long season already. And we just finished our second break. All the drivers had a week off last week. It was a different story for Tier 4 on the first break because we had to redo, I believe, the Imola race. And I have yet to drive on this track. Like I was saying at the beginning of the stream, this track was not on a 2023 calendar. My cat is bothering me for attention. Some of the drivers are saying to put some certain football games, some soccer games, because of his microphone. All right, we have our admin saying to ready up. We should be getting the grid forming up here shortly. And it's very unfortunate that we're unable to do a formation laps due to some of the game's updates causing people to crash through the formation lap. But hopefully we'll be able to see that next season. Who knows when that will be, but I'm looking forward to it, even though I won't. If I won't be here as a commentator, I will still be watching. As there is our lineup, our 5 red lights. And we are off. Jack off to a bad start. Oh, Lucas Blaha as well back into B12. Jack off to the better start. I had him backwards. All right. Go ahead and switch over to our tire compounds. Everybody running the hard and mediums. Caution in sector 1. It's going to be a spin from Gattuso. I believe he's spun in the same area through qualifying. Callum dropping back to P12. I don't know what happened with Callum. Spun as well. Very unfortunate start to the race. There's a virtual safety car with 2 spins from Gattuso and Callum. Callum off to a Very bad start. Lucas Blaha as well. Out back to P8 from that start. I don't think he was ready for that start. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the driver room on our phone as everybody bunches up again from our virtual safety car. There are possible strategies, so hards to mediums, and a double medium to hard. I don't know if we'll see much of a required two-stop, but we'll have to wait and see. Virtual safety car still going. It might end towards the end of this lap. As these drivers, there's a big gap between Clips Curie, Sam Flan, and them. They need to be able to lock up from Ronan. A little bit of latency issue from connection. I hope nobody's going to pit under the safety car. I don't know if Callum and Gattuso have any damage on their front wings. Nobody's coming into the pits. Virtual safety car is over. Callum's going to be coming into the pits for a new front wing, and that's going to be Nitro Gash as well for probably a new front wing. I don't know. But most importantly, we have Jack in first place. Grid positions JPH, Bruce Lee Harding side by side almost. Mercedes and the McLaren side by side, and the Alfa Romeo and the other McLaren side by side. So we're going to be on board with Bruce on this 4-car battle, 5-car battle now. As there's another lockup from the Alfa Romeo. I did change some of my visual settings, so I'm going to be bumping up to Lucas Baja, see what kind of improvement he can make through here. That Alpine really is running pretty hard on those hard tires. JPH waiting to make a move. These guys are pretty neck and neck through Sector 2. Nitro Gash and Callum just have to wait it out and see if they can make it back up to the pack. Gattuso making the grid position on Sir Spud in the Ferrari. We got another lockup from the drivers here. Clips Curie up in P3 already. We just hope that he can run good and to hold that position. We know how he's been able to drive not last race, but he's been able to make it to where he drives good and then makes a mistake and loses out on those valuable points. A lot of people running the same pace, so that fastest lap is going to be jumping around. Clips Curie moving up to P2 off of that turn. We have Luke Spa trying to close in on Sam Plan. I know you want attention, Cat. He keeps trying to jump up on my lap. Lucas Blaha waiting for a moment to strike as they're moving through Sector 2. To be on board with him right now. Bruce Lee Harding about 6/10 back. Lucas Blaha trying to close the gap on Sam and the Mercedes. As he's trying to close in on JPH and the McLaren. McLaren running pretty good as of right now. And the grid's pretty split between hards and mediums. We have Ronan up in the front with mediums. Clips Curie, Jack, and Blackside with the hards. And then our group of 4 that we're watching right now, all are mediums, and the Mikey and then in the back are hards, and the Callum swapping over to a new set of mediums. So the fight right now is here in the middle of the pack. Trying to see what kind of toe Lucas can make. He's trying to make a move on the inside. No, he locks up a little bit. Not enough space between them to close in for that move on the inside, the dive bomb. But he just has to wait and play it out. Ronan setting a new time of 136.2. Lucas Blaha stealing that. I didn't get to see the gap between. 136.0 from Lucas. It was JPH setting a time between those two. So Lucas, who we're on board with right now, is currently holding the fastest lap. A couple more laps on these mediums. We'll get probably 2 more laps worth of as there's a spin. That's going to be Blackside, a spin through Sector 1 coming out. I don't know if there was contact from anybody. I didn't get to see it. We were on board with Lucas. Callum, like I was saying, 135.8 on those mediums. He's in the back of the pack all by himself, just looking to make some good pace. And wait for a possible safety car. And I don't know if they have DRS this lap. We'll have to wait and see till Sector 3. And they do have DRS. Lucas Baja's not going to be able to make enough gap. Jack, a little bit of lockup from, I believe that was JPH. Gattuso losing position out of Mikey through that last chicane. Clip Scary trying to close the gap on Jack. Jack's already over 1 second behind Ronan on those mediums. Ronan is getting away on those. He's running very good pace. As our focal point right now is Lucas Baja and B6 because their pack of 4 drivers is so close together. One person making a mistake, then we're gonna have a whole change up here. Just hoping Lucas can make a big enough move coming through, get close enough through Sector 3 once he hits that DRS, then make that move on Sam into the last few corners. Another spin from Blackside. Sector 2 this time. He wasn't near anybody when that happened. There we go. Sector 3, Luke Splaha. 2/10 back with DRS now. Making that move on the Mercedes. Everybody has DRS. We have a big DRS train going here. As a clean move up into P5 from Lucas Blaha. Sam Flynn can't really fight that. He has to let it happen because everybody's so similar pace. Like I was saying, this is the kind of fighting we wanted and we are seeing today. This is making a move on P4 for GPH and the McLaren. Nice, 2 moves in less than half a lap for Lucas Blaha up into P4. If you can find that pace, get up to Clips Carey and Jack running those hard tires. And Clips Carey just out of DRS range from Jack. But if you let Lucas Blaha, if Lucas Blaha gets ahead of him, then you can basically leapfrog with DRS and try to catch up to Jack. As he's gradually gaining and losing time on Ronan. Ronan on those mediums. They're still sitting around a 1 second gap. Well, what it looks like, we're starting to get some rain. I'm seeing some raindrops on the screen from Lucas Blaha. You see it just barely. We're gonna have a rain. We're gonna have a test of might here. See how long people can run on these tires before it gets really wet. The track still looks dry. Lucas moving up into P3, Clips Carey not really able to fight. Big lockup from Lucas. Didn't get to see it, the camera wouldn't let me switch over. Those hard tires will have a little bit better time with the rain coming in. We're most likely going to see those medium tires go in unless these hard tires are being pushed really hard. As Clips Carey taking it easy through Sector 1. Try not to lose as much time as you can stay with Lucas Blaha. Sitting up in P3 now. JPH and Bruce Lee Harding, the current Constructor Championship leaders. P5 and P7. Bruce Lee Harding in P5. Big lockup from Clips Carey. Probably Lucas Blaha. It's hard to tell with that smoke. I think it was from Clips Carey. And Jack is Jack is already up against Ronan. Where'd that gap go? That rain is settling in even more. You can see the drops even better now. I've gotten so used to seeing this Williams in my driver career mode. I just swapped over to Aston Martin. We have Jack making a move, easy move. Ronan's not gonna be able to fight it. Luke Spa is trying to close the gap as much as possible. We're gonna see if we get anybody coming into the pits, as we have Bruce making a move on Sam in the background there in the Mercedes Sector 3. See if we have anybody going into the pits. Not quite yet. Nobody's going into the pits quite yet. Still gonna push those tires in the little bit of rain that we have. Maybe able to see those tires stretch out to at least lap 10, 11, 12. Lucas Blaha trying to make a move on the Haas. Up in the P2. Gonna be a risky move here. Gonna be a lockup through Sector 2. Is that gonna be beneficial? A little bit of contact from Ronan pushing him out. I don't know if he had a choice or not with the rain. We'll have to see that later in the week with the steward's decision. But there was a little bit of ghosting from Ronan. I don't know what happened there. Lucas Blaha made a bold move, sacrificed a little bit of tire wear to try to make a position up on Ronan. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Ronan's car is ghosted. But we do have contact on. I don't know what's going on here. Lockup from Ronan. Ronan's going wide there at the last corner. He's going to be losing ground on Lucas Baja, JPH up in P4. He made that position on Clips Curie as we're trying to watch Lucas and Ronan. He's just closing in on them now. And Clips Curie sitting back in P5, less than a half a second back. Those hard tires still running really well. Not wet enough to change those tires out. A lock up again from the Haas of Ronan. As Lucas Blaha is trying to break away. Jack and the Williams up in P1. 1.2 seconds now. Get as much gap as you can before having to swap over to the rain. Moving a lock up there from Lucas. Snap of oversteer from Ronan. Very interesting race. It's even gonna get worse. Only gonna get this race is only gonna get more interesting with this rain rolling in. For lap 9, running at the end of lap 9. Ronan trying to close that gap now, less than a half a second behind. Lucas Gattuso losing position on Mikey. Lock up again from Ronan. The rain is settling in and these guys are locking up their tires, trying to make as best as they can out of the situation. Locking up those tires and forcing that tire wear is just going to make it worse and force you to come in a little bit earlier than you'd want to for the rain. This is Ronan now 7/10 back behind Lucas Blaha. Lucas Blaha trying to close the gap with those faster tires on Jack as they're coming through Sector 1. Lucas Blaha had a rough start to the race off of that restart. A little bit of lockup there, like I was saying, coming through the start of Sector 2. Off of a bad start from the beginning of the race, Lucas Blaha has made nothing but improvement. Really showing pace today here in China. Ronan still trying to make amends with that gap that he's trying to fix, trying to close in. Comes through the small straight in the chicane, the sector 3. Gonna see a pass from Lucas Blaha. We still have not been told that DRS is no longer active. We'll get a verify. We'll verify here on the dashboard of Lucas. We still have DRS for at least this lap. Lucas is gonna make a move on the inside. Jack's just gonna let it happen. Don't want to risk anything. The hard tire run may seem like the favored move into the rain. Top 3. Less than a second and a half between the top 3 right now. Jack trying to make a move again. Not quite yet. Nobody is coming for the... Nobody is coming to the pits yet for new tires. As we're going to be rounding out towards the end of the tire life for these. So some of these medium tire drivers, they're going to be the Aston Martin of Gattuso swapping over to a new set of tires early. Going to be doing an undercut, see if that'll work in his favor. We'll have to see. He started in P10 when he came into the pits. Lucas Blaha, half second ahead of Jack. As Bruce Lee is trying to close in on Klips Kiri. Gattuso, the first person onto intermediate tires back in P13. As the rain settles in, he will just have to get into those intermediates and try to nurse them as the rain settles in, because they may overheat coming in this early. But if he's making that call, have the overhead from Lucas Blaha now. Almost a second gap. Jack's gonna have DRS, I believe. Yes, DRS is still active. Trying to close the gap now, about a half a second gap. A little bit of a lockup from Jack. Ronan. A lot of wheel spin coming from Ronan. Klips Kiri fighting for position against Bruce Lee Harding through sector 3. The last corner. Can he get a good launch and stay within a second and keep that toe going? The front of this pack. I haven't seen this close a pack in this series for a while. The top 4 drivers within at least 2 seconds. They're all within at least a half a second of each other. And another lockup from Lucas. That's gonna hurt. You're really gonna want to take care of your tires now that the rain is settling and one person already on those intermediates. And it's this point where the drivers, yes, they're fighting for position. Gattuso, time penalty for track limits there in the last corner. If you remember, Callum on the last corner in qualifying invalidated his lap. But Gattuso, the first person with a 3-second time penalty. Lucas Blaha going to do as much as he can to defend against Jack. Jack's going to have DRS on the straight. He's less than 6/10 of back. And then JPH has DRS on Ronan, so Ronan has to defend as well. Lockup coming from both the top 2 drivers. Klips Kiri and Bruce Lee Harding are side by side. Have a switchback. Klips Kiri looking to make an improvement. He's going to have the outside line. He's going to be a disadvantage, but he is going to get DRS for the start-finish straight. Trying to find my words here. Trying to speak more than I can. Jack, 2/10 back, 3/10 back behind Lucas. Lucas running very good. And there's a caution in sector 2. Gattuso is out, slamming into the wall. There's a full safety car, so those people in the front going to be at a disadvantage of the people in the back going into the pits. Blackside staying out under the safety car. See if Sir Spud comes in. Sir Spud comes in for intermediates. I believe Callum and Nitro Gash will be doing the same. Yes, they are. So they're going to get those early changes over to those intermediate tires, while the rest of the pack has to follow under the fucking, sorry, under the, I don't know if their spud set into the right tires. May have been a mistake. They're under safety cars, so they're only allowed to go so fast. They're spud on a new set of softs, so I don't know if that'll actually help him or not. I don't know if that was intentional. McLaren's leaving space between each other. That way they can double stack and not, and Bruce doesn't lose any time. We may see Sir Spud come in for another pit stop onto the actual correct tires, as we have our drivers coming into the pits. The attention here is going to be on the McLarens. Does Bruce have enough space between him and his teammate to do that double stack? Looks like they will. This whole grid lineup is going to change. Lucas Blaha, new intermediates, back into P3. The double stack did work in the McLaren's favor. Very smart move. As people are electing to go on new hards. JPH and Ronan on new hards. Sam in the Mercedes on new hards. Is this just going to be light rain for the rest of the race? Not enough to actually do for intermediate tires? Because I don't get a chance to look at the weather coming into the race. The weather is randomized. Black side coming out on new set of mediums. Search Bud staying out on those stops. He's taking a risk on those stops in the rain here. Gonna have to be very careful in the rain with those soft tires. Gattuso, the first one out. Run that wheel spin. It's Jack, Lucas Blaha, Ronan, APH, Eclipse Carry, Bruce Lee Harding. The grid is basically in the same form that it was when the safety car came out. I'm gonna go ahead and get a hold of Gattuso, see what he has to say. Twelve drivers remain halfway through the race. The safety car doesn't come in this lap. It'll be coming in the end of the next lap. All right, we have our input from Gattuso. Going over to those inters, just couldn't get him going, and then through that double left-hander there in sector 2, lost control. And I told him, it's like, I knew as soon as I heard of the rain coming in for the race, it's going to cause some issues. And unfortunately, what usually does happen did happen, where somebody is trying to do their best to control their car. They can't, and it forces them to be a passenger in that situation, and finishes their race early. So, safety car coming through sector 2 at the end of sector 2 is sector 3. Safety car is coming in this lap. About a third of the grid is on intermediate tires. Gattuso had that penalty, but he did have that spin. Now it is up to Jack. Set the pace down this long straight. Is he gonna risk cooling his tires down? Try to back up the pack. Because everybody is there trying to keep their tires warm. See Ronan. A little bit of disconnection issues there from Ronan. I don't know what Lucas is doing. They're side by side practically. It's just the angle that I'm looking at it. As the safety car is coming in, Jack has control over the pace. Lucas Blaha P2. See if he can catch him. And we are back to racing here in the rain. Lucas Blaha, 7/10 back. Jack can be running a very difficult race here as the rain is coming down partially as he's on those mediums. And we're gonna have the person at risk here is gonna be Sir Spud on those soft tires. We got Mikey and Sam closest together right now for the fight. Side by side with Bruce Lee Harding. Bruce is on the better contacted tires on those intermediates. He has better traction control. Just a little bit. Just to give way, lockup from everybody. The McLaren going wide. 3 wide coming back onto the track. I don't know if Mikey got rear-ended. That could have ended badly. I'm just glad it didn't. If that gets brought up to the stewards, they might not do anything about it. Just Bruce losing control going wide. The Williams of Mikey who we're on board with right now, having the unfortunate movement to the middle of them. Yeah, as you saw, we were on board with one of them, and there were 3 wide trying to get Mikey and Bruce back on the track. And Jack making a good decision, staying out on mediums. As Ronan and Lucas, big lockup from the Haas. There was contact and he ghosted. I don't know what's going on with Ronan. He's been ghosting a lot this race. With the contact is on. That's most likely gonna be a driver caused incident. Callum coming into the pits. Nitro guys coming into the pits. Don't know if they have front wing damage. Have to wait and see. I can't change the view from here. No, they're just going in for they're going in for dry tires. Callum and Nitro are thinking it's more beneficial to run the dry tires in this slight rain. Lucas Blaha clips carry Bruce Lee Harding on the intermediates. So we have some mixed strategies here going as Jack in the Williams looking to close that gap on the McLaren team. 4.3 seconds to go to gap against Ronan on those hard tires. APH about 2 seconds ahead of Lucas Blaha, back in P4 now. And it looks like the rain has a steady pace. There's not really any change. We're getting a lot of lockup from these intermediate runners, especially on those long runs. DRS has been enabled, so the rain is lightening up. Those intermediate tires may not be as good. We have Lucas coming into the pits for dry tires. Cliff Curie coming into the pits for dry tires. It's going to be a splash of rain for this race. It's going to change the whole thing. Clips Curie and Lucas Blaha coming in for dry tires. Bruce Lee Harding is now the only one left on intermediates, as he's fighting Sir Spud. A lockup from Mikey there just ahead of them. JPH trying to close in on Ronan. See, the rain is just ever so light. The rain as a spectator looks way different than the rain as an actual driver when you're on the track. Jack on those mediums, 5 seconds ahead now. We have Sir Spud and Bruce Lee Harding. Bruce having a little bit better traction through there. Gonna try to run those intermediates as hard as he can without having to go in, as the Alpine gets ahead of the Mercedes there on the back straight. No lockup from Blackside, really. A little bit there at the end, because I believe we had wheel spin from Mikey. Looked like the back end went out. We check the playback. It looked like the back end did come out a little bit on Mikey. We just barely missed it. Mercedes trying to make a move there on the straight. Not quite close enough. Bruce Lee Harding now coming back in from the mediates. From the intermediates, you could see the traction on that. Looks like the back end was coming out in the pits, but that's just the camera angle. Lockup from JPH trying to close in on Ronan. 5.6 seconds now between Ronan and Jack. Jack and the Williams, yet another race where he's running really good. Bruce Lee Harding comes out on the softs, looking to make some improvement, as he's going to be in the back of the pack. Teammate JPH running P3 on those hard tires, as yet again our fight is in the middle of the pack. Mikey P6, 3/10 back behind the Mercedes. All right, there we really want those camera angles. Onboards are good for passes, but it doesn't change. A lot of wheel spin from Mikey on those mediums. A little bit too much rain for those mediums as of right now, from the way he has it set up, trying to keep control of that Williams, as he did lose a lot of pace. Trying to close in again, even though we stayed in within that second for the DRS. Here we have Mikey going wide again. So Mikey is having a lot of struggle right now in this wet weather on those medium tires. And Lucas Blaha, probably a disconnection issue. I don't know. Blackside as well. That may have been a disconnection issue. Yeah, so Lucas Blaha and Blackside had disconnected. See if we can get Gattuso to re-invite them back. Lucas Blaha was running a good race and he gets disconnected. They're going to try to get them back in. Unfortunately, I'm unable to because I am streaming the race. Track limits to Clips Carry. I'm in the driver's room right now trying to figure out the disconnects. Jack now 6.4 seconds ahead of Ronan in P2. As I believe the rain, yeah, still about the same amount of rain coming down. Because this pack is pretty widespread as of right now. Having some... Alright, so some of the drivers that have disconnected are having server issues. Alright, so those drivers are getting an unable to connect message for their servers. Alright, so that is... Alright, that is Blackside, Lucas Blaha, I believe Callum as well. Those three drivers have disconnected to the EA servers, and it's too late in the race, so they get... Very unfortunate. We just had a Lucas Blaha said he was so unlucky. That is a call to Sao Paulo. Oh. Alright, so we have Blackside, Lucas Blaha, and Callum to a server disconnect that's out of their control. As Jack, podium seems to be Jack, Ronan, and JPH with 5 laps to go, 6 laps to go. Trying to see who our race admins are for today. Clips Carry with that 3-second time penalty for track limits. Gattuso is out. Reposition against Blackside, who had disconnected. That is basically going to be our grid today as we round out the last few laps. It's very unfortunate. A caution in sector 2. It's going to be a spin from JPH. Can't see if he had some front wing damage. Only a caution in that sector. You have a front wing end plate. So his fight for the top 3 is going to be unfortunate. Sam Plan taking P3. JPH has the opportunity to run the end of the race with that damage, or he comes in. He is out of the fight, though, for top 3 at this moment. Because we have Jack just under 10 seconds, 9.1 seconds ahead of Ronan. Jack, Ronan, they were all having a good day today in qualifying. Lucas making up a position. No, that's his AI. So Sir Spud making a mistake. But at the end, he is going to make that position up because of those drivers being disconnected. Caution in sector 1. It's going to be a spin from the Williams of Mikey, I believe. And as of right now, the penalty for Clips Carry isn't going to do anything because Bruce Lee is 10 seconds back. That is very unfortunate for you guys. The 3-person server disconnect, that's not fun. Mikey already making up ground on Clips Curie. Where did this come from? It's like I just looked away for a second. Mikey must have made a mistake after the spin in sector 1. If Clips Curie can keep on pace and hope that Mikey gets some penalties, Clips Curie can hold on to P5. Clips Curie, as of right now, is sitting back in P6 with that penalty included. Yeah, so Clips Curie running good today. Lucas Baja, before the disconnect, was running good. Callum was very unfortunate. Ronan with a track limits penalty. Like I said, that 3-second time penalty is null and void as long as he stays over 3 seconds ahead of the person in front of him. Big lockup there. That last right-hander. We're going to have Jack, Ronan, and Sam on the podium for today. That's going to be Jack on the podium for 2 weeks in a row, I believe. Got Jack and Sam on the podium for 2 weeks in a row. And Ronan was not on the podium last week. He was on the podium in around 9. All right, there we go. Jack is rounding out the last corner to start his last lap. He still has to stay focused to finish out this race. That rain still steadily coming down. Might as well show you guys the telemetry. It's the end of the race. A little bit of a spin there from Jack. There's still a big enough gap between him and Ronan. I was just saying he has to stay focused. It may be the last lap, but he has to stay focused. Lucas Blaha. Championship standings. Yes, Lucas. The Alfa Romeo sitting in P4 with 83 points, tied with Alpha Tauri for constructor standings. Lucas Blaha, you're sitting at P3 with 85 points. Ronan, you're going to be getting P2. You're going to get bumped down to P4 at least. And Bruce Lee Harding is finishing P7, so I don't believe that's that many points. Caution in Sector 1. This is going to be a spin from Sir Spud. It's not going to matter. No safety car because Jack will be crossing the finish line in P1. We have Ronan close behind, rounding out the last corner for P2. And then our final finisher, Samplan, finishing in P3 in the Mercedes. A very strong race from these guys. They went ahead and did the dry to dry strategy instead of dry to wet. Clips Carey coming across the line. Gonna be finishing in P5 with that penalty with JPH close behind. And then the rest of the grid is gonna slot in accordingly. Mikey, P6, Bruce Lee, P7. Black side, disconnected. Nitro Gas are going to be finishing this race. He's going to get bumped up into P8 because Black side had disconnected. I believe that's how it should work. No? Oh, no. And there is a race finish. Nitro Gas on board for P9. All right, Lucas. So it was Black side, Lucas, and Callum. So we have our podium, the Williams, Haas, and Mercedes. All right, as a reminder, those drivers, please go to the Tier 4 comms room for post-race interviews. I tapped out there for a second. There's a little bit of a latency issue. Jack, Ronan, and Sam for our podium finishers. A very interesting race with the rain that took play here. A couple safety cars, or one safety car, one virtual safety car, a couple safety yellow flags in a couple areas of each sector. And only 3 people getting penalties today, so pretty clean race here in the Chinese Grand Prix. Go ahead and minimize my board enough to show the chat. Pull Discord back up, pull chat over, do it again. All right, looks like everybody dipped out of the lobby already. So Jack, at Ronan, and at Bam. All right, we'll put out there 4 post-race interviews, see who joins. Even though it is Monday and they may have stuff to do. I'll go ahead and leave the session as we wait for our podium finishers. Let's see who comes back. I still have that envelope on my... Ugh, hate that. I'm looking at the driver's room right now and I see Mikey. Proud to mention I had no incident-free race. Feel like I was saying, we had a lot cleaner race today than we have seen in the last few weeks. We have 2 of our 3 podium finishers. I don't know if Ronan has other things to get to, but he usually gets off and goes right to sleep as far as I know. And I don't believe I did get a screenshot of the podium finish. It was there. I did. Or is that qualifying? It's qualifying. All right, so I don't know where Ronan is, but it's a great finish. We have Sam and Jack here. Sam, you finished in P3, I believe. It was a few seconds ago. Yeah, so first question. Were you expecting the rain to play a card today that wasn't really affecting it. Like I knew it was affecting some people, but it wasn't that severe where everybody had to go to intermediates. How did you feel about that?
What the right thing was going to be, if I'm honest. Even before the race, I saw it said, well, at least on my forecast, I know it can be different for the other drivers, it said pretty much dry race and then right at the end for a few minutes rain. So, but I know not to necessarily trust that. So in my head, it could be a completely wet race or a completely dry race. But then obviously it was raining quite a bit for the whole race. I don't know how there wasn't wet conditions at any point, because it was just raining quite a lot throughout the whole race, and we were only like 5 or 6 seconds off race pace, if that, off dry race pace. So it was strange. And then the safety car came out, which wasn't necessarily good for me because I don't think I was catching the front guys anyway, so it just invited some pressure. And then I didn't have a clue what to do tire wise, to be honest. So I just stuck with dries, even though my eyes were telling me wet. But my brain, used to Codemasters, said to me, just stay on the right tire for now, because it could just end up staying like this. Yeah, because like your eyes are telling you one thing, but you're using, I don't know if you're using controller or steering wheel. I believe it's steering wheel, correct? Yep, use a wheel. So you're using that feedback wheel. You could tell how the car is acting in the rain, whether it's good or not to run the wet tires. I was saying that during the race too. It's like it is up to that driver to make the decision to go to those wet tires, because I noticed as soon as that rain settled in that, like, I don't know how it is for you guys as drivers, because I only have like a TV pod offset perspective as a spectator, but that rain for the longest time ever after, like, so that safety car was actually brought out by Gattuso. He went in early on those intermediates and he just couldn't get those intermediates under control, and he spun out in sector 2. But that is the biggest thing, is how your car responds to you driving and using those tires. Like I knew as soon as that rain started coming out that all those lockups that are happening on those medium tire runners, even some of the hard tire runners, they have to nurse those tires enough to swap over to the mediums or swap over to your new set of hards. And that thought was there where, okay, your life expectancy on those mediums are going to go out. Are you going to be forced to go over to the wets because it's raining, or are you going to take the risk and go to hards or softs, which some people did go to, I believe this Ferrari, I believe it was I don't think it was Nitro, but one of the Ferraris went to a soft tire. Maybe Spud? And Spud, thank you. But yeah, it's the rain, in my perspective, like as soon as it got to the point where it's like, okay, maybe I need to change tires, it literally stayed at that level of rain the whole entire race. Yeah, that's pretty much what it felt like. So that was, we didn't have too long to decide. I had about half a lap when the safety car was announced. I knew I needed to pit, but I was just trying to think it through logically, because I was like, it definitely looks raining quite a bit now, but then it's been raining already for quite a few laps, and it hadn't impacted the conditions, the grip that severely. So I was like, it could just end up not being that severe, but it didn't even seem to get worse throughout the race, which was a bit ridiculous. So I feel like, to be honest, I got somewhat lucky. It's only because I guess I'm aware of Codemasters and playing these Formula 1 games for a couple of years. I just took the risk of staying on the dry tyre when going to hard. But I saw the two guys ahead of me going to mid-speed. That's going to be the right one, isn't it? But then, even then, I wasn't confident. I was just sitting there thinking, what's going to be the right tyre? I was going into turn 1. I was like, am I going to be on the right tyre? Am I not? And then as soon as I saw Bruce go wide, I could just see Bruce had no grip on the intermediates. So I just and I was able to go around the inside and then outside into the next corner and pretty much overtake quite quickly. So I knew quite quickly that I had done the right thing by staying on strides. But in terms of the race, the wet definitely benefited me, because I think in terms of the dry, my pace was probably, I don't think I was doing anything too special today, if I'm honest. wasn't on for a podium, and then the wet kind of caused a few things to happen, and JPH was quite comfortable ahead of me and had good pace, but then he had an accident in the wet. So then, yeah, probably definitely a fortunate podium, but got to take it when it comes, I guess.
Yeah. So aside from all the spins and stuff from turn 1, I believe you were a part of that 4-pack. What tire compound did you start on?
I did mediums to hards.
You started on the mediums. So you were a part of that 4-car pack in the middle of the pack that were fighting for basically the first stint. You guys were all fighting against each other, and you like, I believe it was, I think it was Lucas. I don't know if it was Lucas or Clips. It's just the names are going left and right, where you're going down the back straight and you just have to let it happen.
Yeah.
And then you have your chance the next lap. How were you feeling during those first few laps where you guys were all bunched up together, and there's like literally, it seemed like your guys' setups were exactly the same with how you guys were running? And how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I was running quite a high downforce setup, so I was thinking I had to be quite quick through the corners, and then on the straights I thought people would be able to fly past, but like you say, it turns out we're all pretty similar on setup, so it wasn't necessarily people weren't necessarily flying by as long as you were quite sensible with your ERS. But I think my sort of strategy on that is, if someone's on a similar pace, if someone's got a similar pace to me, then I'll fight it within reason, but nothing too aggressive. But if someone's quicker than me, then to be honest, I'm probably not racing them anyway, so I'm not gonna, if they're gonna go past me on the straight, they're just gonna go past me on the straight, and then if I can stay near the RS for a bit, then great, that helps to save battery for later on in the race. So I don't really, to me, the earlier part of the race is more about kind of survival and ease, getting into the rhythm, and then near the end, as you've survived the core part of the race and it's getting to crunch time, that's when I start worrying about making moves or defending, that sort of thing. But I was just trying to ease into the rhythm of the race and see if there's any incidents ahead and so on. So, but yeah, I didn't, like I said, I didn't have the pace on the. I think the top sort of 3 guys, probably Ronan, Jack, JP8. Probably those 3 were kind of in a league of their own, sort of on pace-wise. So it was only that was the only way I was going to get into the podium, was something like the conditions changing and incidents. And then I think behind those 3, there's probably quite a few of us on even pace, or similar-ish pace, like the middle of the pack. So maybe had some good action on the stream. But it seemed to fluctuate by who was on what tyre and what the conditions are. Some people were quicker on the dry, some people were better in the wet conditions. So it kind of seemed quite changeable throughout the race.
Yeah, the race, with the rain staying around and not getting any worse or better, did get a little bit better enough to reactivate the DRS. But with drivers going back in from intermediates to slicks, and 3 drivers got disconnected from the servers. So with those late tire changes and those 3 disconnects, it really changes everything up. And as soon as all that cleared, those times, like everybody's time differences, were just spaced out. And that race was over by the time it went into the 20s, like before the lap 20. But very interesting race today. Very good performance from you. A lot of good fights between you and some other drivers. Congratulations on another podium, back-to-back podiums. Hopefully you can get another podium next week. As we, I believe it's Canada, yes. Oh, another high-speed track. So we're looking forward to that. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
No problem. All right, and our P2 finisher, I believe it was, I forget who it was. It was Ronan in the Haas. He's not here. So, our P1 finisher, Jack, you seem like you were in your own world today.
Yeah, it was a nice race actually. To be honest, everything was quite fun. First stint was was pretty tough. I started on the hard tyres. I knew the rain was going to come, but I didn't know if it was going to be really heavy at the end. So I said to JPH, Bruce Lee Harden and Mikey before the race that I was going to go for hards and hope that if the rain does come towards the end, I'll be on the softer tyres, the medium tyres, which will just give me a bit more heat in when the track surface gets a bit more slippery. It never really came down too much in the end. It was slippy at the last 5 or 6 laps were quite tricky, but I was just reminding myself to keep the temperature in the tyres and just drive around my problems, and that was it, straightforward enough.
Yeah, like it was a very great performance from you today. Like the only real incident that I saw from you was that slip up there right at the end, like you were saying, like the traction, but you were able to keep that gap. Was there, like, you had a good qualifying, you pole position for qualifying, you finished P1, you stayed in P1 for majority of the race. I guess the first question is, how would you, like, going back to what I was talking about a little bit ago, how did you feel when that virtual safety car came out on lap 1 from that spin in sector 1? I believe it was 2 drivers did the same spin.
To be honest with you, I was quite chuffed that I'd got into turn 1 first. I wasn't expecting it, but I think Lucas had a really poor start, and the BSC came out, and I just thought, okay, well, I've got a bit of a gap to Ronan, so I just made sure to get the restart right. I didn't want to go over the time limit. I was close to it, but I didn't want to go past it and get a penalty. But BSC wasn't too bad on that one.
So yeah, off of that bad start from Lucas, quite a few people were having connection issues. So hopefully that won't, hopefully that's not dialing down to you hosting the lobby today.
I know.
But you've hosted lobbies, like 2 or 3 other lobbies so far in the season, where it hasn't really been an issue. It's just like I had to jump on and validate my game files because I had some mods installed, and I was having some latency issues as a spectator. So it's across the board. A lot of people having issues. I'm trying to. I had what I was gonna say when I was wrapping up the other conversation. You didn't really have any good fights with anybody. You were out there in the front, like maybe a few times with like Ronan and I don't know who else you were really fighting with. Lucas, yeah. When
we did early on. I think me and I don't know if you saw this actually. Me and Ronan had contact into turn
I
2.
did see that. I did see that. I caught that. Where you ghosted a little bit. I think it was you. I think it was Ronan.
Yeah, one of us ghosted.
It was Ronan that ghosted because I noticed he was in and out of ghosting. I don't know if that was like a preventative from the game or what, but yeah, close call, especially there in the beginning of the race. Like I was saying, the pack of 4 drivers in the mediums, like I think it was like 6 or 7 or something like that. They were bumping up against each other that they may bring to the stewards, but not enough to. I don't know. Did Mikey say anything about his situation? Because he was actually caught between JPH and then another driver when the rain was rolling in. I think so. But yeah,
he was doing fine, Mikey. He was doing really well, and JPH spun off, and he had a broken front wing, and Mikey looked like he was on course for what would have been a awe-inspiring 4th place, but I think he dropped it on the exit of turn 5. I think he got too much revs, and he just lost the place. He finished 6th in the end, but it's a great result for us, for Williams. It's just consolidating our 2nd place in the constructors, and we're closing the gap on McLaren, which
you are closing the gap. It's
still quite a distance, but it's just keeps them awake a little bit before the end of the season.
And you guys, I don't know what you could do with Mikey, but like talk to him or give him some tips or something. But if you guys are able to close the gap, like you guys, as of right now, before the points get tallied up, you guys are within 50 points of McLaren in the constructor standings. And if you guys can keep performing up to, I believe, Abu Dhabi, or we already did Abu Dhabi. What race am I looking at? What race am I thinking? It's
Final races.
gotta look at the calendar. Depending on the results of the Qatar race and coming into Australia, depending on how you guys do in Australia, you guys can make it a title fight for the constructors with McLaren, and it's gonna be a close fight with the way you guys are going now. I know there's a little bit of mishaps from both teams, both McLaren and Williams, but it's looking like you guys are going to be in a fight. Williams versus McLaren for the end of the season.
I certainly hope so. I mean, it'd be nice to put them under a bit of pressure, because they've won the last few constructors championships, JPH and Bruce Lee, and they've won it at a canter really. So it's nice for me and Mikey to be at least giving them something to think about. And if we finish second at the end of the season, we're still going to be delighted with that. And I've been speaking with Mikey quite a bit, sharing some tips, and he drove really well today. I'm really chuffed with the performance he put in it. You know, yeah, he could have had 4th place, but 6th place is still a really good, solid amount of points with me winning. So hopefully next week at Canada, I think it'll be a bit of chaos next week at Canada. It's so tight round there.
It'll be, yeah. I'm already looking into, like, I'm already thinking it out in my head, and I'm sure there will be at least one person slamming into the champions wall there in Canada. That's so many bad moves there in Section 3 that we're gonna be looking forward to, and we get a whole week of it.
That we do.
So yeah, very interesting race. Well, once again, like I said, when we started, you were basically in a world of your own, running out there in the front. Good pace. Maybe not quite enough for Tier 3, but we'll have to wait and see until next season. Like I was saying something about next season with like the formation laps. But all in all, very good performance from you. Very good performance from Williams. You guys are cutting into the lead of McLaren for constructors, and you guys are both getting points for your driver standings today. So, good race. Congratulations on, I believe, back-to-back wins. And we'll see you next week in Canada.
Yeah, see you next week. Thanks, Xerox.
All right, no problem. Congratulations on the win, Jack. All right. All right, that concludes our post-race interviews with our podium finishers, 2 out of the 3 podium finishes that we had. As a reminder, we have our driver and constructor championship listings here, with the Williams closing the gap on McLaren. So these aren't final points. It's going to be provisional before all of the penalties get looked at. But Williams closing the gap. Ronan also trying to close the gap on Williams, with Haas being the only Haas runner today, as Ronan sitting in P4. And as always, if you guys are looking to join the league, please make sure to join the Discord and follow the application process in the appropriate channel. You can also find our league on gridfinder.com. If this league isn't quite what you're looking for, you can always go and go through the filters that they have on gridfinder.com and find a league that fits your preference. Online racing isn't your thing and you're on PC, you can always go and check out Venturi Studios, your one-stop shop for everything in custom driver helmets, team packages, and more. The Invictus Racing League and its partners, thank you for joining us today and throughout the season as we round out race number 11 here in China. There's going to be a lot more racing here in China this week, as we have Tier 3. They did race today. I don't believe they streamed. Tier 2 is going to be racing tomorrow. Tier 1 on Wednesday. And then Real Performance on Thursday. So if you're looking for more racing here in China with Invictus Racing League. Please stay tuned for the rest of the week. And hop on in, say hey, check out some other drivers from other tiers for this league. So we will see you guys later. Once again, my name is Xerox, and we'll see you guys next week for Canada.